So I don't want to hear nobody talking about I have the body of a teenager, therefore I'm asexual. Teenagers horny as fuck. That is not a good argument. That's not. What are y'all talking about? What y'all doing? What y'all saying? Y'all just saying shit and nobody's clocking you at all.
I'd rather keep it real with ya.
Yay, we're recording. Okay. I want to say happy Sunday, but I also want to say bad Sunday. I'm recording this on a Saturday because tomorrow I have to get my hair done. I'd love for you guys to see whatever my new hairstyle is, but I just will not have time to record this on Sunday. So, okay, Sunday, everybody. I'm all over the place because, like, I was going to talk about one thing, then something else popped up and I got mad, then something else popped up and I got mad. So I figured I'm just going to be ranting this video, and I want to rant about the asexual community. I also want to rant a little bit about the polyamorous community, but I ain't gonna talk about polyamory right now. That'll probably be another video, but I'm just gonna talk about asexual community right now, and then hopefully the video that I wanted to make, which is about inner child work, will be next week or the week after that. But I'm gonna record it shortly after this because I need to get it out because it helps me process. But some shit came up in the asexual community that made me so mad, and now I have to like talk about it because I'm frustrated again. And it's like, it's not that the community has become like toxic, but it's just become like a free-for-all, like Wild Wild West type situation. And I had so many comments on the asexual discourse video, and I went back and forth with everybody in the comments, you know, that I could possibly do, because like I said, I respond to every comment, and so that's what I did. But some things that just popped up in the many ace groups that I'm in, and I gotta say too, another thing, I noticed that a lot of my ace friends ain't even in ace groups anymore. Like they literally tell me like they could not stand to be in those groups anymore, and I'd be surprised to find people who have been in ace groups probably as long as I have and who have just stayed there. Because I stayed there because years and years ago, when I was like discovering asexuality, I joined those groups to find community and to like try to find people who had similar experiences as me, because the only other asexual person I knew did not tell people they were asexual. Like they did not bring it up. And so I like found out way later that they were actually ace, and I was like, wow, you never said anything about it. And they were like, oh, I don't want it to be like my whole identity and stuff. And I was like, I get that. But I really could have used some ace friends to kind of help me guide me through this like journey of trying to learn all the new terminology and the experiences and stuff. I just didn't get that. So I, joined as many ace groups as possible so that I can like meet people and make connections, maybe even date, which I've spoken about in the other ace video, dating, how that don't work. But like, I've met some really cool people, and most of those people who I've met are not in these ace groups anymore. They're not. And it's like, it's all types of shit that is happening that I just feel like the admins of these groups don't want to take a stance on. So something that popped up in one of my older ace videos that I thought I wanted to bring up, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to re-traumatize my friend, but was the idea of guys who were potentially not asexual joining asexual groups so that they could get with women or like prey on women because of whatever reason. Maybe they were like hoping to deflower a virgin. We don't fucking know. But guys who aren't actually ace joining these groups so that they can get with women, because cishet guys can't never stay in a place. They can't. They're always in somebody's shit. And if they white, oh God. Oh Lord, don't get me started on the white folks, because if it's a white cishet man, you best believe he gonna be in every group he can. I once met a guy who was like, he would join black people meet groups and dating sites, and I was like, but you're not black. He's like, well, I'm still gonna try to get me a black woman. And I'm like, why? What are you doing? But yeah, so This situation that I was worried about literally happened to a friend of mine, that I met in one of the ACE groups. Was that this guy he was friending women that I was friends with on Facebook, and he was in the ACE group. He introduced himself, blah 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 blah. She actually went on a date with this guy, and he was super super creepy and weird. And if it had just ended there, like, oh, it's a bad date, it would have been, I guess, not as bad. But then, like, afterwards, he started like messaging her, calling her from different numbers, like just very very just like an awful person. And I was immediately like, we got to report this person, and get them kicked out of the group. They're not a safe person. And then I went to my other friend who was friends with him, was also ace woman, and I was like, I'm letting you know right now, as your friend, this is what he's doing to this other woman, and I don't want him getting creepy with you. And she was like, oh yeah, I don't like that. And we did report him. I think he got kicked out of that group, but I think he probably joined some other ACE groups because, of course, and still giving her problems to this day, which really frustrates me. But it's like, shit like that is what I be talking about, and y'all don't be wanting to hear me. Y'all be acting like I'm doing the most, or that I'm being extra, and it's literally motherfuckers out here. Like, you gotta understand, I don't know about the men from the ACE community, but if you are a woman, if you are at any point a woman, if you appear as a woman, you know, if people confuse you for a woman, you know what it's like to be online dealing with men. And I'm sure trans men have their problems too. I just don't personally have a lot of issues with trans men, but the cishet men, you know what it's like dealing with cishet men online. You know. And as much as we want to be accepting and loving when these men come in, and there is something a little sus about them when they come into these groups, we have to have our guard up, because they could be creeps. They could be weirdos. They could be in people's DMs right now, sending them dick pics, sexually harassing them, getting blocked, but then creating another profile so that they can go after them again. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be looking out for this stuff, because unfortunately, people are awful, and they're going to be awful, and we have to protect the people in these groups from these awful people. We have to. Like, and I'm in other groups that are not ACE, where they literally, like, they take them questions seriously. So, like, they ask questions that are literally like vibe checks to make sure that the person who's trying to join the group isn't somebody who's trying to join the group specifically so that they can fuck around and like troll and piss people off. Because how many ACE groups have I been in at this point where people have joined the groups en masse and then decided to just post a bunch of transphobic shit all of a sudden and trigger all of the trans people in the group and the people who support trans people in the group. Like, I've seen my ACE groups get taken over by shit like this because we don't really police who can and cannot be in the groups. Like I said in the last video, in the asexual discourse video, sometimes gatekeeping is good because you got to keep out people who want to hurt the community. There are people who want to join the community just to fuck it up. There are people who want to join the community just to prey on ACE women because of whatever they think ACE women are like. Like, you have to be selective about who you allow in. And the ACE community don't want to do it because they're scared of being gatekeepy. The gate is what helps. The gate is what helps, okay? But if you don't want to have a gate, then we're fucked. We're fucked. And that's why all of my ACE friends keep leaving the ACE groups, because they can't stand to be in there anymore, because it's become so toxic and aggressive towards anyone who dares to say anything that's not radical acceptance. And that's so fucking frustrating. I am covered in cat hair. I just realized. Oh my God. It's cat hair fucking everywhere. That's probably why my allergies are still really bad this morning, because it's like cat hair everywhere, and the purifier is doing its best. It's doing its best, little baby purifier. But it's not a match for two cats, I guess. But as I was saying, this is very, very frustrating for me. Another thing that's become very, very frustrating for me is, since I made that video and I've like talked with people in the comments, I can sort of understand to an extent people who are saying that trauma caused them to be asexual. I don't agree with it. but I can understand where the logic comes from, because trauma does change the brain. I do think it's a bit inappropriate to claim that, but I can understand where your logic and your reasoning are coming from, in the sense that you could legitimately feel like you just do not experience attraction to anyone anymore. And just like I said in my aromantic video, I recommend going through trauma therapy and working on your healing, so that, you know, if once you're healed, you know, if you do experience attraction, that's fine. And if you still don't, that's also fine. But anyone who has any type of trauma, I just recommend going to therapy, going to a trauma therapist specifically. Not every therapist is trained in trauma, but going to a trauma therapist to work on healing. That's what I'm doing. And I just recommend that for everybody. So I can kind of understand that. I can understand the logic and the reasoning. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And I don't feel as much of a need to attack those people. But there are some other people. The reason I'm making this video, because I've seen post after post, and I'm in this group. I'm in multiple groups. One of the ace groups I'm in, I mentioned in my videos, was about, I think I'm in 2 ace groups for people who are ace but a part of the BDSM community. Now, like I said before, I'm not into BDSM. However, I do support it, and I do not speak up in those groups. You know, I don't talk over anybody, because I'm literally there just to learn about other people's experiences. And so I just be in there and I just be listening, right? You know, and I can understand how there are asexual people who enjoy BDSM, who enjoy the non-sexual aspects of BDSM, and like all the different things that comes with it. And I was like, okay, I get this. I can support this. You know, I literally, I can see how BDSM can be a non-sexual thing. And it's just the fact of the matter of, like, media has made us think it's sexual. And I don't know if I've said this in other videos, but my sister-in-law is a dominatrix. So, like, understanding too, like, from her perspective, she's not having sex with every one of her clients. Like, that's not what's happening. So I can understand how BDSM can be non-sexual. But I'm in those groups. And one of the groups that I was in recently, someone posted about how they had cancer and it gave them a hormone imbalance. And they said, that's why I'm asexual. And then they were asking about something. I couldn't fully understand what they were asking about, but I think they had a crush on somebody. I just didn't fully understand what they were asking, but other people seemed to get what they were asking. So I was lost. So you know me, I was very respectful. I was like, congratulations on surviving cancer. Very happy for you in that respect. And I was like, I'm not fully sure about calling yourself asexual due to hormone imbalance specifically. And the person was like, yeah, I kind of toed a line, but I'm like this other person, because this other person comments immediately is like, I'm asexual because of hormone imbalance. And the way that they describe their condition basically says something like they never went through puberty, or their puberty went backwards, something like that. Matter of fact, let me read I'm trying not to be too detailed, because I don't want to be like, you know, calling these people out, but let me see here. Okay. Yep, I see what's going on here. Yeah, so they said they never finished puberty, and that's why they don't experience sexual attraction. And I'm just very confused about that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to understand medical conditions. I just think it's a little weird to say I never finished puberty, so I'm asexual. What? I have a hormone imbalance, so I'm asexual? We doing this now? Like before, in the other video, like before, there was these things where I was like, I can see how you might think that, but no. But here I'm like, literally the things that people are using against the asexual community are what people are claiming as their reasoning for being ace. And I'm just like, what do you... No. I know people who... I met a girl who was 15. She was 15. And she was like, proudly, I'm asexual. I know, I'm asexual. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out where you coming from saying that you didn't finish puberty, so you're asexual. But there's people who've gone through. I've gone through puberty. I went through puberty at 8. Matter of fact, it was probably earlier because your period is towards the end of puberty. But I went through puberty early as fuck. I'm a grown ass woman. I'm asexual. Like, what are you? How can you claim that? Are you saying that everyone before puberty or during puberty or whatever is asexual? Like, that doesn't make any sense. We all know what happens in middle school in America. We know how that shit go down. It ain't comfortable to talk about as a grown woman, but we know what the fuck be going down in the middle schools, in the stairwells, in the bathrooms, in people's houses. Like, we know how that happens. And I explained in my first video about asexuality, when I talked about my own experience, when everybody else was having their like explosion of hormones and sexual attraction, I was sitting here like, I mean, I guess that guy's cute. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of aces have that experience where they're just like, I don't get what everyone else is talking about, or why everybody feels the need to go off and have sex, because I'm just over here like, I don't know, reading a book. But, and I was reading books because I'm a nerd, but like that, though, the logic just, I'm missing the logic altogether. Going through puberty or not going through puberty does not define your sexual orientation. Like, how many people who are trans or gay will tell you that they was fucking 6 years old when they knew that they liked people of the same gender, or when they knew that they were the person of the opposite gender. I do not like saying that, because that really invalidates a lot of teens who come out as ace, because you're saying that, oh, I'm basically still 14, so that's why I'm asexual. There's 14-year-olds who are gay, who are straight, who are bi, and they know it very, very clearly. Don't do that. Don't do that to them babies like that. That's not appropriate. That's not right. And then another thing that I thought about is there's this show on TLC, I think it's like I'm Shauna Ray, where there was an issue with her pituitary gland, and so she's basically an 8-year-old, like physically. And I think she gets periods. I can't remember if she does or not. But the point is, she has the body of an 8-year-old. She doesn't claim to be asexual at all. She is very much a straight woman. She has had sex. She is out there looking for a romantic relationship, a romantic and sexual relationship, and wants to be with somebody and wants to potentially have kids and all of that stuff. And she has the body of an 8-year-old. So I don't want to hear nobody talking about I have the body of a teenager, therefore I'm asexual. Teenagers horny as fuck. That is not a good argument. That's not. What are y'all talking about? What y'all doing? What y'all saying? Y'all just saying shit and nobody's clocking you at all. And I didn't, like, after that, I didn't say anything. I didn't go in and be like, and they wrong too. Like, I'm not that type of person. I'm not the type of person to be in comments fighting people. That's stupid. But I'm gonna make a video about it because I just got really, really frustrated, because it's like you're like right on the nose now. You're right on the nose now. And so I feel like if we gonna do that, you know what I mean? And somebody else commented, was like, I'm also ace because of medical reasons. They didn't describe their medical reasons, so I can't really evaluate how that works. But I'm just like, so what did people call themselves before we had terminology for ace? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that there was ace people in history. It's one of the things I think we don't talk about enough, because when I was in queer history in college, and the whole class was queer, and I loved most of them. There was one person who was ace phobic, so I was like, fuck you. But I loved most of them. But literally everything that they were in the class for was literally to just they wanted more stories of people who were gay in history. And I got it, but I also took issue with some situations, because I was like, in my mind, I was like, well, some of these people could be ace, but everybody was like, two women living together, gay immediately. And I was like, maybe they're best friends. They could be in a queer platonic relationship before QBRs existed, you know. I didn't want to invalidate anyone's feelings about it, because I'm like, of course there are lesbians in history, there are gay people in history, and I'm sure that there are asexual people in history. We just haven't gotten that far study wise. So like, I'm sure there's ace people in history, but before we had terminology for ace, if someone went through some kind of accident where they could no longer feel a sexual attraction. You know, maybe because I remember in when I took a terrorism class in school, there was somebody who lost their penis basically to an explosion. You know, those people, eunuchs, in history, like, are we going to say that those people were asexual because they don't have genitalia anymore? Is that, because I mean, like, we not drawing no lines anymore at this point in the community. In any other situation, if you were like, I was in a car accident, now I'm a lesbian, that shit wouldn't fly. It would not fly at all. You know, I had brain cancer, now I'm gay. That shit would not fly from nobody. The gay community be mad, straight community be mad, doctors will be mad. They'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? No. But it's okay to say that, you know, I had some medical condition or I had an accident and now I'm asexual. How is that okay? And if we're going to do all of that shit, it's done. You know, asexuals are over. That was the last leg we had to stand on. You know, and all our little videos and the TikToks and the sketches that we do where people are like, oh, that's just a hormone imbalance. Oh, that's just your trauma. Oh, that's just because you want to feel special. You might as well delete them, because don't fucking matter no more. Because according to everybody in the community, apparently, because nobody's like questioning this shit anymore, and the people who are questioning it are leaving the community because they don't want to deal with the nonsense, are just like, yeah, of course, sure. So you might as well start, you know, put a phone up, do your TikTok and say, yes, I am asexual because of a hormone imbalance. No, I won't go to the doctor and get it fixed or checked out or worked on or anything like that, because I just like saying that I'm asexual, and I like marching in the pride parade even if I'm not like everybody else. And you might as well just say that. You might as well start saying that you like calling yourself ace because it makes you feel special. Because what else is there? What else is there? Like, I like, are y'all feeling what I'm saying here? Like, we've literally thrown away every argument that has been used against the asexual community that we have been fighting for since the beginning of Avon, is gone. Because now if anybody says in a video, or like me, even if I say in a video, well, no, a hormone imbalance doesn't make you ace, that's just a hormone imbalance, it's a separate thing, 5, 10, 15, 25 people are going to be in the comments and like, actually hormone imbalances do make you ace, and you're being rude and invalidating people's experiences. And so then it's like, well, fuck me. Or I say, well, no, just because I've had trauma doesn't mean I'm ace. And then people are in the comments like, well, trauma can make you ace. I'm ace because of trauma, and you're invalidating me. So you need to change what you say in your video, because trauma does make people ace. Why does it make people ace? I don't think people are fully understanding what the fuck asexual means. And I've had these conversations with people in the comments too, where they're asking, well, does it mean I'm ace if this is this? Does it mean this is that? Which are totally fine questions to ask. It's okay if you're not. It's okay if asexuality is not the term for you. It's okay if something else is, you know, that you just haven't discovered yet. That's okay. You're not missing out on anything by not labeling yourself as ace. Like, the whole purpose of labeling yourself as ace is to have a label that accurately represents your experiences. If it doesn't represent your experiences, then you don't need it. But if you take it just because you like how it sounds, or you like the memes, or you like the colors, you're hurting more than you're helping. And it's just like, that shit just would not fly. Like, what we doing at Pride? What we doing at the Pride Parade when we out here marching? What are we marching for? Because at this point, it's not even a sexual orientation. It's a medical condition. It's a label that we are ascribing to people who have medical conditions and deficiencies, and hormone deficiencies and hormone imbalances and trauma. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is now, because we refuse to tell people that sexual attraction is different than sexual arousal. Sexual attraction is different than romantic attraction. Sexual attraction is different than, you know, whether or not you have sex, like the actual act of having sex is not, none of those matter in whether or not you were ace. And I've come to accept that. I'm not somebody who says that all aces have to be sex repulsed. I'm not somebody who says that if you are ace, you can never have sex or it invalidates your aceness. I don't say that. Like, I can understand the differences between the action and your actual attraction to people. Another thing that happened in one of these groups, oh my God, look how long I've been ranting. In one of these groups was someone being like, yeah, I'm asexual, but I'm attracted to the opposite gender. What do I don't know what they question was, but they were like something like, what do I do or something? And my question was, hey, when you say that you're attracted to them, do you mean sexually attracted to them? Are you saying that you're romantically attracted to them? Are you saying that you're like gray sexual or something? Even though I have my own issues with those groups, you know, like if you are, then okay. But I was the only person asking the fucking question. Like everybody else was just like, yeah, and I'm just like, I'm big on education, right? So if somebody doesn't have the right terminology, I'm all for helping them find the right terminology to fit them. But it seems like no one gives a fuck about the terminology outside of asexual and demisexual. Like outside of those two, no one cares anymore. Like no one cares about using the right terminology or using the split attraction terminology. Is just I'm asexual, and that encompasses everything now, which can be very confusing because I've seen in these groups where a ace gets with another ace and they're different types of aces, and it doesn't come up until the relationship starts, and then they have issues because one of them is sexually attracted to the other and the other one isn't, and then it becomes an issue, you know. Or one of them is sex repulsed but they into BDSM, and the other one is into BDSM but they sex positive and they want to have the sexual component. So like, it's like y'all gotta be able to use this terminology correctly because you won't be able to have no kind of meaningful relationship. And I've seen it happen. People have come back and said, I thought I was in love. I finally found an ace person to be in a relationship with me. And then this went wrong. And I'm like, yeah. Because you can't just say, I'm ace, you're ace, we get together. Like, have we not learned from the gay community that putting two people of the same sexuality together doesn't work? Have we learned nothing? Okay. I guess we haven't. Because the asexual community is just wilding right now. And it's literally just going to fall apart at this point because ultimately there's going to be no definition of asexuality. Like, because I know several women, something that's another ace person in a group or claims they're ace, I don't know their story, was saying was about, you know, being attracted to the opposite gender. I know several cis straight women that will tell you right now, sometimes I'm attracted to men and sometimes I'm not. And that makes so much sense because men, we see them, they be out here acting a damn fool. Like, you know what I mean? Am I going to call that person ace because sometimes they're not attracted to men? No, sometimes you're attracted to people, sometimes you're not. And also, what the fuck does sometimes mean? That was my big issue when I was trying to figure out what this person was saying when they're like, I'm ace, but I'm attracted to men. Is like, where is your line? Are you like saying that most of the time you're not? Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. What does sometimes mean? Does sometimes mean just when you see somebody who is aesthetically pleasing and now you're sexually attracted to them? Or does it mean that just it happens randomly and you don't know what the conditions that need to be met are? You don't know. We don't know because then nobody asked any fucking questions. No one responded to my comment trying to clarify anything. Nobody wants to explain terminology anymore. Nobody wants to use the correct terminology anymore. Nobody wants to divide romantic attraction from sexual attraction anymore. Like literally, like somebody posted in one of the groups, and we have these like intros that are detailed, and by sexual attraction I think they just said like women or something like that, and I was like, wait, what? And then they were like romantic attraction, and they were like women, and I was like, wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? We asked for the name of your sexual orientation. Of course it's gonna be ace, but if it's ace and heteromantic, or if it's demisexual or something like that, like let us know. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. And nobody wants to take a stand anymore. Nobody wants to say anything because they're going to get kicked out. They're going to get attacked, you know, by the whole group for being invalidating, for being rude, for being mean. And it just pisses me off. And the only reason that I'm in these groups is because I'm open to making connections. I'm open to making friends. I like helping people. I like educating people. I'm, still one out of every 500, I guess, people in the group. I'm still like meeting people, talking to people, having a good conversation. So I'm still like holding on. But I'm tired. I'm tired because it's just devolved. Because in no other group that I'm in, whether it's groups that are for queer people or groups that are for people who are like, politically progressive, or groups for people who have chronic illnesses and they want support. Like, of all the groups that I've been in on social media, there's always been some kind of gatekeeping in the sense of we don't let just anyone into these groups because we recognize the danger it can have. Like when you join certain groups, they ask you, they want to make sure that you are affirming of trans people, that you are affirming of non-binary people. They want to make sure that you are, pro-vax. If that's something that's going to come up in the group, they want to make sure that you're that. They want to make sure that, they may want you to be progressive or at least moderate. Like, there are things that they look out for that help keep out the people who are going to come in and take over the group and then push everyone out. But at this point, we just have people who are like coming into these ACE groups. There's no form of like gatekeeping. There's no, did they check the boxes? There's no way of knowing for sure whether or not they actually identify as ACE or if they just saying they are because they like the words. I don't know, and some people did ask in the other groups that if not the other groups, but in the other videos, if there should be like a separate group for people who are ACE because of trauma or people who are ACE because of medical conditions. I don't know about the trauma piece because I still feel some type of way about it, but I don't think you're ACE because of a medical condition. I don't think that your lack of libido or your low hormone levels make you an asexual. Now, maybe you identify with asexuals because of the fact that you don't get aroused very often. You have a very low sex drive, so you're not thinking about sex as often as people with high sex drives are. But that doesn't mean that you're asexual, because you can have a low sex drive and still be attracted to people of whatever gender that they are. That doesn't mean that you're asexual. I don't think there should be a medical ACEs or ACEs of medical issues or low hormone ACEs group. You know what I mean? You don't need that. You don't need to call yourself asexual. Now, if you want to share the memes, I'm sure some of those memes apply to you because people with low libidos aren't thinking about sex as often. And so if you see a meme that is about I don't know what it says because I don't know the words. I know one was like amornormativity and another was like heteronormativity. But like if you see memes that are kind of like deconstructing sexuality and promoting the fact that you don't have to be a hypersexual person ready to sleep with anybody in order to be a whole person, like, share those memes. Those are good things to share because we don't want everyone to feel like sex is the only thing in life or sex is what makes us human. It doesn't have to be. And you can agree with all of those points without being asexual. Like, you don't have to be ace to get that. There are plenty of people out there who are heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, pansexual, whatever, who are single by choice. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that they're asexual automatically. It just means that they're not interested in being with anyone, or maybe they have a low libido and they're not interested in having a relationship that is built on sex. That's okay. We don't have to call everybody and everything asexual. But like I said, that's what I wanted to get out about asexuality in that post that made me really frustrated, because I'm just like, if we just accept any reason to call yourself ace, there's nothing else. There's nothing for us to have anymore. Like, we might as well not even call ourselves ace anymore, because you can, what are you going to defend against people? Like when these baby aces, when these 13, 14, 15-year-olds come out to their family and say, hey, I'm asexual, and they get all of this shit from their parents about trauma, or you're too young to know, or you need to go through puberty, you haven't finished puberty, your hormones, blah, 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 go to the doctor. Like, when they get all of that shit, they have no comeback anymore. They have no comeback. They have no defense. Like every year I see young people being like, it's holiday time. I'm about to be around my family. I need help like responding to these attacks against asexuality. You ain't got no responses. There's no responses anymore because of the fact that you now have people who are identifying as asexual because of all of these reasons that people are using to attack the community. So, and especially if you one of them baby progressives who doesn't want to invalidate anybody, when you're sitting at the table with your family who's trash and they're telling you that you are not allowed to call yourself ace because you're too young, your hormones are messed up, you don't know what you're talking about, somebody touched you as a child and that's what it is, and you need to go to the doctor and fix yourself, you have nothing to say to that. Nothing. Because anything you say to that is now going to be invalidating somebody who identifies as ace because of all of those reasons. So you're just going to have to sit there and let them invalidate your entire experience and everything that you have worked so hard to cultivate, because it's really fucking hard to, one, accept being asexual, but two, come out as asexual to people who you know ain't going to respect that. And then you do all of that work only to be told that we're just ace because we want to be special now. We're just ace because we like the color purple now. We're just ace because we like the way the word sounds. We're just ace because we don't want people to expect sex from us in a relationship. But, you know, once we feel comfortable with them, we're going to have sex anyway. And it's going to be whatever. And then they're going to think that asexual people just be slow to have sex. I don't know what the fuck. But it's like we have nothing. We have nothing anymore. We don't stand for anything anymore. There's no point in being in the pride parade because no other orientation allows people to say shit like, I have a medical condition, so I'm gay now. No other orientation allows people to say that. So we might as well not even call ourselves an orientation anymore. Like, it's over with. It's over with. And it's really, really invalidating to a lot of the ace people who I talk to who leave these groups because of the fact that shit like this triggers them. And invalidates them. And I don't even know, man. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I'm glad I found my Valium before I made this video, because I'm just like, y'all, I don't know what y'all doing. I'm gonna let y'all go. I want to say enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man. I don't know. This is just some bullshit. And I was like, we gotta draw a line somewhere. Why is it that every other community gets to draw lines? Even if the lines are drawn incorrectly, every other community gets to draw lines except for us. Why? Ask the founder of Avon. Why? You know, ask these ace pages that are sharing memes and sharing videos and pictures and all of that stuff, saying that everyone is valid every time, all the time. Why? We need to draw some lines, or the asexual community is just going to be a blip in time, a phase where a whole bunch of people claim to be something that they weren't, and then they all like grew out of it. However the history books are going to write it, is they're just going to write it as like we were just like some kind of fad or trend of the 2000s, of the 2010s and the 2020s. But then everybody got over it and went back to identifying as the other orientations, or some new orientation has to come along that people will attach themselves to, because calling yourself ace is just going to be too toxic and too problematic. And that's just upsetting for me, because I worked really hard to accept myself as I am and to find therapists and doctors who are affirming of that. And I just don't know where I am anymore if we are not going to draw any lines in the community about what the ace experience actually is. So I'm gonna let y'all go with that. I want y'all to think about it. I want you to tell me what you think about it in the comments. Again, anyone who feels particularly offended, that's okay. You can be offended. That's valid. You have feelings. I'm not coming for you specifically because I don't know you. So please do not come for me specifically, as we do not know each other. But if you want to attack my points and you want to share your experiences and your thoughts on things, feel free to do so in the comments. If you like the videos that I'm making, not just the ACE videos, but videos about trauma and mental health and healing, please subscribe. I make them every Sunday. And I hope that you guys, after all of this, you know, rest, drink some water, eat lunch, and just like take care of yourselves, because the ace community ain't taking care of us, so we gotta take care of ourselves. But until the next video, which will probably be something else triggering, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all of the support in the comments and everything, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.